Something that hasn't been discussed about the Idaho investigation into Brian Kohberger and the horrible murder of those 4 young students is what direction the police decide to investigate in terms of, is this a one-off, a one-time event, or are they trying to find out if this is someone who is not so much a serial killer, but a repeat criminal, okay? So what this looks like is they start collecting their evidence, right? Let's say they do find proof of one of the victims, the ID or articles of clothing, or whatever they find that they believe connects Kohberger. What does that tell them about whether this was all in contemplation of this act or there are others? How do they allocate resources on the basis of that decision? How do they try to make a case, and what is that case, and what are the charges? You see what I'm saying? It gets very complicated, and the implications are very profound. So let's bring in forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carole Lieberman. So let's start with the idea of the decision they have to make, and then how that terms in terms of practicality. Dr. Lieberman, I start with you. You're saying, glad you finally caught up to me, Cuomo. These are the kinds of things I was suggesting to you way back when were going to happen in this case. How so?
That is true. Because even before they arrested Kohberger, I was saying that the killer was an incel. Because of the bloody crime scene, how bloody it was, which meant how violent it was and intimate it was, and then who the victims were, because they were typical Stacys, what incels call Stacys, the kind of women who they can't get, you know, the kind of women who have been rejecting them. And with Kohberger, we know that this started in middle school. And what's interesting is the first girl who rejected him that we know about, who came forward, looks very much like Kaylee. So this is something that, you know, has been going on in his mind, and this is of the final expression of all of his anger and rage at all these women who have been rejecting him all his life.
And if he is an involuntarily celibate male, what you're calling an incel, what does what we know so far suggest in terms of this was a one-off, of a one-time object of his obsession versus he's done this other times?
Yes, that's an interesting question because, you know, it's possible that there were other women before before these 3, and of course, Ethan is a Chad, the man who can get a Stacy as a girlfriend. So there might have been others before this. I don't necessarily think that that's the case, but there could be things like dogs, for example, or animals, other kinds of animals that he was trying out some of his, you know, some of this stabbing on to see how it felt and how hard it was and so on. But I don't know that there would have been a perfect incel, Stacy, Chad kind of situation.
Boy, oh boy, a California dermatologist caught on tape in her kitchen pouring a Drano-like cleaner into her husband's tea, charged with trying to poison him. Her defense says she was really just trying to poison some ants. Now, let's bring back forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carole Lieberman. Doc, let me start with you again, because I always, look, one of the reasons I love to cover crime is it's really a reflection of who we are, right? We're seeing our tendencies, our perversities, our proclivities get played out in extreme, right? And so, you know, you look at what kind of cases are coming into society, you see a reflection of what they're about and what they're against. What is up with the poisoning thing? Is this new to you, or is it as old as hemlock?
Well, it worked with hemlock. You know, this is a very interesting case because at first it seemed like just so obvious. He has the tape, and there she is pouring the Drano into a cup. Of course, her attorney is saying that she was just transferring it from a big, you know, container that it's sold in to a little cup to then use. I didn't hear about the ants. I heard that it was, you know, to use on the stuffed up drains, but to be able to use it in a smaller cup. There's a lot of contradictions. You know, there's supposedly she put it in his tea, but then he also said she put it in his lemonade. married. This is a couple. They've been married for 10 years. And they have 2 children, and clearly things have not been going well for a long time, because it's really interesting here. So he starts feeling these pains in his stomach and so on, and it's tasting funny, and that drives him right away to put up cameras in the kitchen. Now that's kind of a leap. Like, clearly he thought right away, oh, my wife is trying to poison me. Obviously they've had problems for years, but still you kind of wonder about that leap.
Yeah. Anyway, here's what I leave you with. First of all, I wish you all the blessings of the season, to each and all of you. Thank you for helping me out on the show. You are as much a part of the success of it as anyone is, so thank you. So far, so good.